Mike's Daily Podcast.
I won't get into the whole controversy.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The controversy of the show called Mike's Daily Podcast. But is it really daily? Does it last that long? Is it a long podcast? I don't know. Is that wrong? Is it a podcast where someone sings at the beginning and tries to sing, but he can't sing very well? That's what it is. I think only time will tell. You have to listen to the whole thing. Which I'll make it a short one today in honor of you.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
In honor of that, the controversy of which I speak would be the
Mike's
whole vaccination
Daily
thing right now.
Podcast.
I heard someone say something about equating getting a vaccine with wearing a helmet if you ride a motorcycle. Hey, if you ride a motorcycle, you should wear a helmet. But if you don't ride a motorcycle, then you don't need the helmet. And I go, wait, what, huh? I guess I get that, but I don't see how that equates to... Do you mean if you don't want to live, don't get a vaccine? If you don't want to go outside and interact with anybody? Or are you that careful? I don't know. People think they're super people or something, that this virus won't get them. Virus, vaccine, all these V words. It's very, very vicious. But that's, I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. It was an interesting, it's what is being talked about often in the world of talk. Be that talk radio or on the TV screens. People are chatting about it. And then there is this little thing called my lovely lady friend. She's not a thing. Well, I guess we're all things, aren't we? We're all objects. But humans are a little more than objects because they're humans and they have a heart.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And my lovely lady friend has a heart. What is he talking about on this show today? The podcast picture is not of my lovely lady friend, but it is a picture that she took last evening when the sun, that other thing, the moon, that thing. When that thing was out last night, it was pretty full, although I don't think it's fully full, but it was bright in Podcastro Valley. And you can see that wonderful picture she took at MikesDailyPodcast.com. And actually, this picture was taken at the Field of Dreams, which is a lovely spot that this guy used to run around on. The late, great Basil the Boxer. Even when his back legs were starting to fail him, he could still somehow run on the Field of Dreams, where this picture was taken. It was magical. That's why we called it the Field of Dreams. You build it, and they will show up. So my lovely lady friend wanted me to watch a movie last night because it was a Saturday night. Why not? I guess that makes it all right. So we decided to have ourselves a little movie night. So we're looking through Netflix. I really hate Netflix. Can I say that? I know hate's a strong word, but I don't like it. I don't have Netflix. We were actually looking at it through her account. I canceled Netflix at the beginning of 2018. I don't know if you have listened to this podcast for that long. This, by the way, is FF episode 2310, 2310, 2310, and we're at Cafe Anyway somewhere in Podcastro Valley 10. So I canceled it back then. I said there's nothing on here I wanted to watch. There was one thing, and I finished watching it. It was the thing about FDR, that thing. FDR was the Ken Burns documentary. It was fascinating. He passed away in the presence of a couple of women, surrounded by women. FDR. I believe that's how it was described. And that's not a bad way to go. So, my point being that my lovely lady friend is awesome. She's a woman that I adore, and she picked a movie on Netflix to watch because she really wanted to watch a movie, and it was called Nocturnal Animals. And I will tell you right now, no, it's not a documentary about bats and raccoons. No. It's about Amy Adams, and she's really rich, and she's some kind of art assemblage. I don't know what you call them. They put the stuff together. An art planner, art curator. There we go. The curator. And so she's a curator. They should have just called it the curator. Art gallery owner. So she lives in Los Angeles. And she is married to Armie Hammer, which I didn't know. There's all kinds of wow going on with him. And apparently he did some bad things, and the Me Too movement has cancel cultured him, if I may throw a bunch of... So, cancel culture, by the way, if we may take a quick little detour, I don't understand why a lot of conservative talk show hosts are so afraid of being canceled. Yesterday, I was discussing why so many conservative talk show hosts are afraid of A, vaccines and getting a shot, and B, wearing a mask. I don't get that. Why are you so scared of these things? These foolish things remind me of you. Instead, what the cancel culture is, so what is the worst thing cancel culture can do? Oh, let's see. Twitter can kick you off. YouTube can kick you off, and Facebook can kick you off. All right. Well, I thought you don't like social media. And aren't there all these conservative social media that are showing up now? And how about this? And this is a big point that conservatives say. I know this because my mom has said this to me. She's very conservative, very Republican, and that is the free market system. The free market system says that if you allow the market to be free and to do things, and to do the little market things they do, that the strong will survive. It's like the Darwinism of the, not social Darwinism, but the business Darwinism, if that's a thing, corporate Darwinism. So, that being said, how come there's all this worry about getting kicked off of Twitter when you can just go to the whatever the conservative equivalent is? Aren't there some new ones like, oh, what is it called? There's the new people are trying to make them grow, these new ones. Not Periscope. I'll do a quick Bing. See, I'm not even using Google to search stuff. I use Bing. So there you go. I'm giving Bing, Google a run for their money by using a different search engine. Perhaps you, as we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley 10, don't want to use Google because you hate Google because they're selling your information. Maybe you go to a different search engine that you know won't do that. There's options out there, folks. There's options out there, conservative talk show hosts. How come you're worried about being canceled? You're being canceled by somebody that you can end up canceling by you telling people to use a different service. I don't get why that is such a big... When they talk about that, it annoys me. Because I'm thinking, aren't you then putting power to something you don't think should have power? Hold on. I'm being summoned. Just a moment.
Later that day.
I was summoned. Now I'm back. Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley. So going to redstate.com, I can just see quickly here, there are quite a few social media platforms that if you don't like Twitter, if you're afraid of being canceled on Twitter or YouTube, this is where you can go. Parler, according to redstate.com, is arguably the most popular alternative social media platform on the block right now. It looks and feels similar to Twitter, so you won't experience much of a learning curve upon joining. Then there's BitChute. BitChute, it's, let's see, a video creator, video channel. It's like YouTube. BitChute, and it's like CHUTE, BitChute. Okay, maybe not the most memorable, but that's what some people are... The great thing it says here about BitChute is that it directly allows you to contribute money via the channel. BitChute does not rely on advertisers to pay video makers for their content. It relies on you. There's Minds, which is an alternative to Facebook. Gab. Oh, I've heard a lot about that one. It's Twitter/Facebook mashup. That's what that is. And MeWe. MEWE. And that's also a Facebook alternative. So, there you go. That's according to redstate.com. So why, with all that, so I don't get why that is such a worry. I guess there's nothing else to talk about. So they talk about that and vaccines and masks and boo-hoo. But still, I don't see where this is a earth-moving discussion that needs to be made over and over and over again on conservative talk radio. But I did hear one funny thing from a host on conservative talk radio that I thought was interesting. It said, he said, Biden's woke, but he's not awake. Which, I mean, I'm not going to comment on whether that's true or not about Biden, but it is true about a lot of people that I know that consider themselves woke and they're not really awake in life in other areas, I guess. But this all goes back to what we used to call politically correct, being PC and all that sort of thing. Oh, I got a text, everybody. While I'm doing the Mike's Daily Podcast, I got a spam. Yeesh. And so I'd like to cancel that spam that I got sent. Cancel culture. All right, so enough of this topic. And Nocturnal Animals, just a horrible movie. The premise, so she's a museum or some kind of curator, art curator. Her husband's cheating on her, Armie Hammer, played by Armie Hammer. She gets a book from Jake Gyllenhaal, her former husband. He writes a book, and it's inspired by their relationship. So guess what? In the book, there's murder, rape, violence, horrible things happening, which you have to watch in the movie in painstakingly slow detail. And you know where it's going, and you're like, I don't want to see this. So we turned it off. My lovely lady friend once made me watch another horrible movie, this one with Frank Langella and Cameron Diaz, called The Box. Yeah, you've never heard of it either, I know. So this was also on Netflix, and it was such a bad movie, and I sat through the whole thing. I remember it was a hot, horrible day. Oh, it was the day that after watching the movie, we got in the car. We were just so upset, and we still had Basil, the late great Basil the boxer, and we said we got to get out of it. We got to go somewhere that's cooler. So we headed towards the bay from Podcastro Valley, and I said, let's just go to Half Moon Bay, even though it's Sunday. It's late in the day. It's about 5 o'clock. We probably won't hit any traffic. We did not hit any traffic. We got there in about 49 minutes. And at this point, the traffic going the other way was pretty bad. But we had a wonderful day at the beach. I posted a podcast picture of that spot actually yesterday. We went there yesterday, on Wednesday we went there. But that spot where we went to on that particular day after watching the horrible movie called The Box, that's where we were this past week. But with Basil the Boxer, I posted a podcast picture with him sitting on the beach. I believe it was from that trip that day. I think it was either last week or the week before, one of the recent podcasts. At any rate, so what it is when I'm watching a movie that she has told me, oh, let's watch it. And I say that it's going to be horrible, and I just yell out The Box. Or I say box is just one word. And that's the code word to say, turn this thing off. It's going to be terrible. Now, here's the thing. Ferocious Animals was adored by critics. there's like not a single movie critic that did not love Nocturnal Animals. You look it up on Wikipedia. There's not a bad. Everybody just, this movie was the best thing ever. Oh, the director is the director that also did the Quiet Man or the Crying Man or something, the Colin Firth movie. And so everybody's, he's the best director ever. He did that one with Colin Firth and Juliana Margulies or Julianne Moore or whoever the heck it was. Julianne Moore. Thank you. And, so anything he touches turns to gold. This movie came out in 2016, and I didn't even know it came out in 2016. I only know because we started watching it last night. It grossed, how much did it make? Oh, who cares? It made a lot. It made millions. Good for that. I think at this point, though, there's probably not a single Jake Gyllenhaal movie that has ever been made that I like. I can't think of a thing. Oh, but Mike, what about that Spider-Man one he did recently? Yeah. Good for you. And at this point, Amy Adams, there's really not that many movies I like by her anymore. She did The Muppets. Oh, my gosh. I sat through that thing. I don't have patience anymore for movies. This is why I'm on YouTube all the time. Yes. Should I go on that other... What was that? I've already forgotten what the name of that Red State channel is. Should I go on that and watch videos instead? There is just nothing out there. The movies are all trite. The actors, I mean, come on. How many art gallery curators do you know out there? That is not a common profession. Give me a common profession that everybody has. Car mechanic. I know a lot of car mechanics. Why is it that my car needs serious help right now and I don't take it I gotta take it to one of the people that I know, because I apparently know a lot of car mechanics, or I know a lot of people that work in all kinds of different things and facets of society, but no art gallery curators. Chris Rock has COVID, but he said he used this when he told the news about that. He said, get vaccinated. Trust me, you don't want this. He apparently had the Johnson & Johnson. And supposedly he jumped in line because he was a celebrity. So, at any rate, yes, you can get COVID even if you have been vaccinated. But the CDC said you're like 11 times more likely to die from it if you have not been vaccinated. I think that was the quote. I just clicked that and turned it off on my computer, what that said. And sorry, I don't have the absolutely accurate details about what that is. But let's say you're being threatened by people telling you need to be vaccinated. Let's say you're being threatened by people that say, I'm going to cancel you. I'm going to cancel you because this is the culture in which you live. You don't belong in this culture anymore, so I'm going to cancel you. Let's say they say something rude like that to you. How do you deal with threats? We deal with danger all the time in our lives, both real and perceived. That means it's not really there, but you perceive it's there, though it shows up differently for all of us. The same environment can be safe for one person, but present a threat to another. Just imagine a swimming pool for a swimmer and a non-swimmer. Or two friends, one white, one black, being pulled over by a police officer. Sometimes simply hearing about a threat, such as when we read about climate change in the news, can trigger debilitating fear. In addition, the impact of real and perceived threats is often the same, meaning that we can experience the same heightened sense of fear, whether there is a car barreling down the street toward us, or we are watching a frightening movie, like something with Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal. The following techniques can help with many of the threats we deal with in our daily lives. Life-threatening danger requires immediate responses, but Learn to distinguish between real and perceived threats. In order to learn effective responses, it is important to discern between threats that present actual harm and those that only feel real and cause unnecessary anxiety. Mindfulness, or paying non-judgmental attention to your moment-to-moment experience, can help you begin to notice your reactions when you feel threatened. Perhaps your heart begins to pound or your skin feels hot. When you notice your fear response rising, can you ask yourself, am I in real danger? If so, what can I do to protect myself? If you are not in immediate danger, take a deep breath. Acknowledge that you are frightened and practice self-compassion. Once you have calmed a bit, you can decide how to proceed, how to move forward. Mindfulness can be a helpful practice for reducing stress by helping you come back down after perceiving a threat. You can take a quick, purifying breath. Inhale, take in a light love and healing energy. What? I don't know. How do you do that? How do I get a big dose of healing energy? Well, this is more of you picture this in your mind, that you are pulling in clear, bright, sparkling energy, and that you're trying to become brighter. Okay? I guess sort of you're visualizing this, and then you exhale, fully releasing any tension, anxieties, or worry. You may picture it as darkness or fog. You're getting rid of the darkness. Breathe out the fear, the anger, the sadness. I have to say, so much of what you hear on talk radio has to do with fear. That's not good. So much of what you see on television, those political channels, has to do with fear. Heck, it doesn't even have to do with political channels. It's this one's, what's that one? Pick any channel, pick any show that's news oriented. They try to use fear to pull you in. It's all about the sensationalism. If it bleeds, it leads. That whole thing goes back to the Rosebud guy, the Hertz Castle dude. Even if you are in a difficult situation, focus on what is happening right then. Don't waste time thinking about the worst that can happen. It probably never will. Just focus on what you need to do next. A good example of this is getting bad news at the doctor's. And this comes from takingcharge.csh.umn.edu, which is actually the University of Minnesota. And they're taking charge of your health and well-being section. So in this, they write about when Susan was diagnosed with diabetes, she went into a tailspin thinking about all the health issues she would have and how her life would be completely restricted. As a result, she didn't think to ask some clarifying questions about managing her disease. Later on, she found ways to manage her condition, and she realized how she could have handled the initial news more skillfully. If you know in advance you'll be in a fearful situation, plan what you can do. This is when it might be helpful to think about what could go wrong before you ever are in the situation. Learn as much as you can, come up with strategies and practice them. This is what the U.S. military does. Practice and practice until the behavior becomes automatic. If you are afraid of public speaking, you can start by getting feedback on your presentation style, then come up with ways to address your weaknesses and practice in front of a progressively larger audience. In addition, you can anticipate difficult questions or audience behaviors and come up with a plan. Finally, work collectively. Work collectively to reduce threats to personal safety. Collectively and individually, we need to look for solutions to real threats in our society, such as domestic abuse, gun violence, racism. While this might seem overwhelming, we can all find ways to do something. You can get involved in the neighborhood, in an effective activity, civic engagement. We can all do that. Reduces violence and crime. Planting vegetation in high crime neighborhoods is another simple action that has been shown to reduce violence and increase connectedness. I wonder why that is. Is it the way that plants are all interconnected, you know, with the branches and whatnot, and the roots kind of mix with each other, and that's how we all are? We're all connected. Is that what it is? We see the bigger metaphor of it all. Asking about domestic violence in a non-judgmental way helps victims come forward. One approach is gentle action. The key here is to listen and work with others to identify issues, then start with small, simple steps, engaging people within the community. See what unfolds and make adjustments as necessary. This from Louise Delagran and Andrea Upmore. They are both from, are they both from the University of, well, it's, they work with, they're in Minneapolis. So one is has an MA and an MED, and they do research, these two, and that's what they came up with. So Louise and Andrea, thank you for that. Andrea has an MFA, and she's one of the producers of the Taking Charge website that I pulled this from. Thank you, Andrea. All right, there you go. Is everything a threat in this world? Oh, I didn't even know what this was. An MED. That's a master's degree in education. That's what I think Andrea has. Includes coursework focused on using evidence-based research to inform curriculum and instruction, creating useful assessments, and developing differentiated instruction to serve the needs of all students. Maybe it's all about getting educated. Maybe that's all it is. But we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player. Tell you what.
What?
Nilly is here too. That is Benita's horse. It's a great horse, by the way.
Hi, Nilly. Good to see you there. Okay. Disgruntled fiddle player, I thought you would say something about mask wearing and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't like masks. I think we all wear a mask, you know, metaphorically, using that big word you just said. And I think we all have a mask on in life. But, you know, we shouldn't wear one over our mouths.
Don't you think, though, masks, not only the same guy that said the thing about Biden and the woke joke, he was also saying about how masks that we wear on our faces, it's basically using a chain link fence to hold back a wall of water, which I don't know. This guy is not a scientist. I don't know how he knows that, but yes, it seems in my past year dealing with the pandemic, wearing a mask has helped me considerably not catch COVID. Not that I know of anyway. Of course, you sometimes show symptoms, but other things that I've caught in the past.
Yeah, it's all sham, and you're just contributing to it with your liberal agenda.
I don't have one of those, sorry. It's not. My only agenda in life right now is to try to find some sleep. I can go on and on about how many things have woken me up in this world. My job, the stupid, there's always a huge truck that has to park in front of my house, and some guy's got to jump out of it with a sledgehammer, and then the rest of the sleep time is shot. So boo-hoo for me. Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I made the delicious root beer. Have some right now.
But at least I don't have COVID. Not that I know of. I may not be showing symptoms. Who knows? Does this root beer have any COVID in it?
Yeah, okay, whatever. Drink it right now. I'll cut you.
I'm not going to drink it, so feel free to cut me because I don't want the COVID. Next show, it'll be the wonderful, but I don't know, Madame Rootabega, Valentino and Bison Bentley stopping by. Hopefully your week is good. Have a great week. And if you'd like to chime in about anything that we covered today, 336MM Daily, 3 + 3 = 6, MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast has been now for a couple of days. We will try to continue to be so, but we always get interrupted. That's how it goes here. But yes, with more ways to reach me, here's a friend.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.